Bond market volatility. What can T-bill, note, and bond investors do about this? And why we said no to a safe 7.16% new issue bond. Hello, members and super savers. I hope you're having a good week. These are the three topics we'll be covering in today's video because, well, personally, I think we should buckle our seatbelts and get ready for a wild ride in the bond market. Words that I haven't used in the same sentence for many, many years, by the way. But given that we are first and foremost a bond and retirement channel, it's important to talk about this and what it means for treasuries and other fixed income investments. And just so you know, this one here was not an easy decision for me to make. We even had a few moments of non-buyer's remorse, but more on this later and why it was the right decision. As usual, here's our front of video disclaimer. For a detailed disclaimer, please refer to the end of this video. This has been quite a volatile month for longer maturity Treasury yields. On October 3rd, we saw US job openings rise, supporting the Fed's higher rates for longer messages. Treasury yields went up. In fact, US Treasury yields hit 16-year highs that day, as you can see here for the 10-year Treasury note. The 20-year Treasury note was above 5% all week, with the 30-year Treasury bond not far behind it. The first week was a really good week for those of you who are looking to pick up longer maturity Treasuries on the secondary market. On October 4th, payroll processing firm ADP said monthly job growth slowed in September, not supporting the Fed's higher rates for longer messages. Treasury yields fell. On October 6th, the BLS reported that the U.S. added a stunning 336,000 jobs in September, nearly twice as many as the market had expected, once again supporting the Fed's higher rates for longer messages. Treasury yields rose back up. Now, I know some of you were watching the yield on the 10-year Treasury note that week and looking forward to the following week's 10-year Treasury auction. But then on October 7th, 8th, and 9th, two important things happened. Bombings erupted in the Middle East, and two Fed officials stated that they may not need to hike rates further if the bond market naturally does this for them by pushing long-term interest rates higher, as they did in the previous week. Treasury yields remain unchanged, but only because markets were closed for the weekend and Columbus Day. On October 10th and 11th, the market digested the Columbus Day weekend news, and Treasury yields fell and continued to fall further. And on October 12th, the September inflation numbers were released, showing that inflation was stickier than expected, again supporting the Fed's higher rates for longer messages, and yields rose. And the volatility has continued into this week, with the 2-year Treasury yield hitting 17-year highs after strong retail sales figures were released. The point is, this volatility is not normal for bond markets. In fact, with these ups and downs, all within a day or two of one another, fixed income markets in recent weeks have started to look more like equity markets. Having said that, I do think that this is to be expected, given that we are living in this very unique, almost generational opportunity for fixed income period. It should be no surprise that we're also living through this unique period where bond markets can move drastically with much more volatility than they have in the past 10 to 15 years. So now what, right? Here are two important points that may help guide your fixed income journey during these uncertain times. Point number 1, consider buying longer maturity treasuries on the secondary market. Most of the big swings we've seen recently in yields have been in the longer maturity treasuries, as you can see here. The shorter maturity ones have actually stayed relatively stable. And it makes sense really, now that the market seems to mostly have accepted the Fed's higher rates for longer messages, because rate changes and expectations tend to impact longer dated bonds more than shorter dated ones. Now, those of you who purchased your 10-year Treasury note at auction on October 11th, when Treasury yields were down from the previous week as the market digested the Columbus Day weekend news, still ended up doing okay, as we can see from the auction result here. At 4.610%, this month's 10-year Treasury note auctioned off at more than 30 basis points higher than last month's 10-year Treasury note. But had you bought your 10-year Treasury note on the secondary market the previous week, you may have been able to get an even better yield depending on how much you were buying. As I talked about extensively in this recent video, we still buy our T-bills at auction for our various T-bill ladders because yields on shorter maturity treasuries have stayed relatively stable over the past few months. But if I were to buy longer dated treasury notes and or bonds, given the current volatility in the bond market, I would probably consider buying on the secondary market when I'm able to find a price deal combination that I'd be happy with. This way, I know already when I place my order the rate that I'd be getting for the next 5, 10, or 20 years, unlike when I placed my order at auction. I've linked both of these videos below for those of you who want to learn more about the pros and cons of buying on the secondary market. The second point that may help guide your fixed income journey during these uncertain times is to stay focused, turn down the noise, and stick to your long-term investing strategy. Many of our Diamond NestEgg regulars joined us before bonds became really cool. Those last few words are, again, words I haven't used in a long time. The point is, everyone's talking about bonds right now. If I didn't turn down the noise on a regular basis, if we changed our long-term investing strategy every time a job report or inflation report was released, our portfolios would be in serious trouble. As our members and super savers know, we love our detailed charts and tables, but we look at the overall picture as well. And what the overall picture is telling us is this. 1, this continues to be an almost generational opportunity in fixed income. 2, markets are getting more and more jittery, meaning that on a day-to-day basis, there will be more extreme reactions and therefore movements in bond prices and therefore yields. And 3, in our mind, bond yields still need to go higher in the long run, despite short-term blips up or down. Because say it with me, the government continues to spend like... Okay, I've been told that the drunken sailors don't like the analogy. Drop a comment below and help me fill in the blank. The government continues to spend like blank. For this video, let's say that we feel bond yields still need to go higher because the government continues to spend like mad. Doesn't quite have the same effect as drunken sailors, but you get the picture. So long as Washington continues its current pace of deficit spending, borrowing costs for the government for US Treasuries will continue to go up, meaning yields need to go up as well, which brings me to the next section of this video. Some of you may remember seeing this video on how to buy municipal bonds on Fidelity. This 6.27% tax equivalent yield for at least the next 10 years, I bought it at the end of September, and we were pretty happy with the result at that time. So Schwab folks, I know that you're waiting for a Muni video like the Fidelity one I just showed you. We're working on it. It's taken a bit more time than expected because this week, when longer dated Treasury yields were surging, most municipalities that had offerings scheduled for that week decided to pull their offerings and schedule it for another week when the 10-year Treasury yields would hopefully come down, like they have a bit recently. Remember, the 10-year Treasury note is considered to be the benchmark against which other riskier investments and debt are compared. So when 10-year Treasury yields surge, the yields on other non-Treasury debt, including municipal bonds, usually go up as well. And when the longer dated Treasury yields came back down a bit, that's when most of the municipal bond issuances restarted. In fact, since those yields came down after Columbus Day weekend, we've seen at least 6 new muni issues cross our desk every day, and that's only from a handful of states. In any case, this is the 5% tax-free coupon for the next 10 years that we ended up hitting the cancel button on. On a tax equivalent basis and taking the purchase price into account, this was a bit more than 7.16%. And the only reason I canceled was because of point number 2. Stay focused, turn down the noise, and stick to the long-term investing strategy. Truth be told, I did have a small knot in my stomach when I canceled this order. and a few moments that same evening of, oh, maybe we shouldn't have canceled. But I reminded myself of all the data points that I walk you through in this video here on how continued government spending at the current rate will drive rates higher. Check it out if you haven't seen it yet. If Treasury yields haven't peaked, Muni yields can't have peaked yet either, all else being equal. And in fact, since then, we've indeed found quite a few new issue munis with rates above the 7.16% one that we hit the cancel button on. But I'll save those for our other upcoming bond videos. All right, members and super savers, I hope this video gave you some peace of mind during these times of bond and overall market volatility and help you cut through some of the noise. If you enjoy this video, I'd love to invite you to continue to support our channel through membership so that we can keep producing one-of-a-kind, objective, sponsorship-free videos for a super saving community. Come for a chat at our next live member Q&A on October 27th at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And check out our latest member videos. To learn more about Diamond NestEgg membership, check out this video here or visit our channel page or the join link in the video description below. See you again very soon with more brand new wealth building content for your financial journey.